Salam, hello, and welcome to another, but first, spontaneous episode of Silly Points Cricket. I'm joined here in the studio with Taufeeq Mian, and unfortunately today we're going over a little bit of controversy that's coming out of the PSL. James Faulkner has been kicked out or has left on his own accord. We do not know yet of what has transpired, but there has been some issues going on up around his payment, James Faulkner, and due to that, there has been his exit from the PSL after some tantrum throwing and some anger and some issues that could not be resolved. But the main story is that he's left the PSL. He has thrown shade at the PCB. The PCB has come back at him, and it has been a total handbags from James Faulkner. Taufeeq, how do you react?
Extremely disappointed, man. The PSL was going very smoothly. Everything was going really well, and this just throws a little bit of taint or discolors it a little bit. I'll let you go through the events, but extremely disappointed.
Right. So let's just look at what happened. And there are two sides of the story. There is James Faulkner's side, which he has given a statement through Twitter. And then there is the PCB slash PSL, who came back a few hours later and refuted James Faulkner, basically calling him a liar, and basically, gave their own statement. Let's start with James Faulkner. Very simple. He just basically gave a Twitter statement saying, sorry, PSL fans. I have to leave the PSL because there have been some contract issues of non-payment that I was promised. The PCB has not handled this, and basically due to this, he has to leave, which he has. Now, again, whether that was on his own accord, he's been kicked out. We do not know, but that was his statement. Was there anything else? He threw shade at the PCB, correct?
Yeah, he threw shame at the PCB and created a little bit of destruction around him as he left. But
Right, we'll get into that later. So then the PSL slash PCB come out and they basically say, no, this is not true. We completely 100% refute his statement. But what was interesting was they gave a totally lengthy chain of events of what had happened, which basically goes like this. All PSL players are offered 70-30% of their salary, 70% up front and 30% after the PSL ends and they've delivered all their contractual obligations. The 70%, James Faulkner and his agent said, hey, please send us to this money to his British account, which the PCB did, and they wired that money over. James Faulkner acknowledged that payment receipt and said it was in his statement, in his bank. A few weeks later, or leading up to this now, James Faulkner then says through his agent or through himself that, hey, I actually wanted this money to be sent over to my British account. Australian account, rather. I don't know why. We don't know why he wanted to do that. Probably tax purposes, but who cares? PCB basically say, hey, we already sent you the money. We can't send it over to you again. That would be sending the money twice. If you want to send that money back to us, we can retransfer it over there, but we can't send it to you again because that would be paying you twice. And that's where the issue begins.
sounds
right?
pretty straightforward.
I mean, sounds very reasonable, right? James Faulkner then does not like this, right? He then apparently this has been an issue leading up to today, yesterday, where Quetta have been fighting for their life for this PSL to be able to stay in. And apparently, yes, James Faulkner was not happy. He's even said, I'm not going to play against Multan if you don't pay me. PCB and PSL officials go to James Faulkner in his hotel room trying to soothe this over. And it did not go down well because apparently he had a total meltdown. And Taufeeq, apparently there are pictures circulating around Twitter where he threw his bat and helmet on a chandelier.
Yeah, just to be clear, there's a picture of a chandelier that is broken, and it does look like it's in the PC hotel. But whether he threw a helmet or a bat at it, I don't know. Those are the rumors that are going around. Hasn't been confirmed. And if you think about it, this chandelier is hanging in the living room, and you can't really throw something in the air towards it, right? So what it sounds like has happened is that they were having that discussion on the balcony. And then apparently Faulkner had thrown his bat and helmet towards the chandelier. And so for me, another one thing is a tantrum, right? But the other thing is that this chandelier could have fallen on somebody in the living room. The bat and helmet potentially have fallen. And so this is a big safety concern as well. It could have threatened somebody's life. And so that's another concerning aspect of all of this.
Right. So total handbags, a completely stupid reaction. And, that's basically where we are now. Then apparently James Faulkner, during this incident, after throwing it at this chandelier, he then also went and threw a bottle of whiskey at someone at the hotel, berated the PCB, whoever, PSL officials. Then he was basically told in, no answer, F off, right? Like, get lost, right? So he goes to the airport. Apparently to him, he left on his own accord, so we don't know. But he goes to the immigration at the airport, probably Jeddah Airport, and he is basically berates immigration there. Again, we don't know if that was part of it. We don't know if that was 100% accurate, but this is what the Twittersphere is saying, right? So, my first reaction, and I think it's really important to point this out, is that there is a world where James Faulkner is probably right in saying that, hey, I didn't get paid. It is very possible that it happened, right? Just through context, I don't believe him, but I just think that it is possible, right? But what is also true is that no matter if it is or it is not, there is no world or scenario or situation where you should be reacting the way that he has done, because now it doesn't matter what had happened. What matters are his actions. And I think you would agree with me here is that, he's lost all credibility. It doesn't really matter. The story isn't that he didn't get paid. The story is the reaction.
Right. 100%. I mean, you can't leave your team when they're fighting to be in the playoffs, just because you haven't been paid in a certain amount and there is an ongoing discussion to resolve that. The other thing is berating people and degrading PCB when they've been on such sensitive ground. I mean, this tournament means a lot to Pakistani cricket, and it's been going extremely smoothly, and then all of a sudden you do this, and basically degrade them, right? I think PCB should go out there, and if they are correct in what their statements are, then they should sue him for defamation, honestly.
Yeah, that's what some of the Twitter people are saying. A lot of the reaction is, go after this guy, right? Like, and theoretically, if the PCB is correct in what they are saying or true in what they are saying, then it should be very easy to prove, right? That James Faulkner is saying, you didn't pay me. Well, we can easily show you that. We can show you the Swift wire or the wire receipt or whatever it is to say, hey, we paid you. You told us to go to your bank account. We can prove it. You acknowledge receipt, blah, 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 right? I'm sure they have text messages, emails, whatever it is, right? So theoretically, what James Faulkner is alleging can be easily proven or disproven very easily by the PCB or by him, right? So that is very true. But the other thing is that he's also going after Quetta, because I know the PCB handles all probably payments and everything that comes with that, but it's essentially the owner who basically is footing the bill for his team, right? So there's also that aspect. Is he going to come out and say, hey, we paid this guy? But what was interesting is that I think, the franchises, or at least Quetta, is saying what the PCB is saying, because all of them have come to a consensus and said that we are not going to draft this guy in the next PSLs.
Right. And I think that's a huge statement. And he's already not playing for Australia, right? And now for him to have a dispute with Big Bash League for something similar, like what happened with Kamran Akmal, his ego was hurt that they offered him a low salary package, and he threw a fit around that. This one is a little bit more black and white. I mean, this is more serious, right? Whether you're getting paid or not. But nothing justifies what he's done. And I think Quetta owner as well as PCB, everybody should be going after him for his defamation, for kind of defamation. And the other point is that this also sets a precedence, right? And if Pakistan let this go by, then it's sort of precedence that anybody can treat Pakistan this way and get away with it. And especially of somebody from the big three like James Faulkner, it would send a statement that we mean business, and this is not on the way he has treated Pakistan after everything all the Pakistani fans have done and Pakistan themselves have done for him.
Right, and you mentioned earlier that the PSL has been going very smoothly, right? And, you know, a lot of players, well, not a lot, but a few players previously have pulled out under the assumption that it was bubble fatigue, right? That questions will be thrown, well, did Alex Hales leave? Because he had issues with this. And really, you know, that has to be, and I think that's why the PCB came out, just to sort of say, that is not the case. This is, and they handled it very, very nicely. So,
right. And I really appreciate Afridi coming out as well right away. He's like, look, this has never happened in PSL historically. This is unacceptable. These accusations, as well as I've been treated extremely well because he had a back nickel and he pulled out too, right? Of PSL. And so these are like, I hope Alex Hales comes out and says, look, I truly had bubble fatigue and that's why I had to go. Like I missed my family, and that's all, those are all acceptable reasons, but to throw somebody like PCB into dirt, that's just not on.
Yeah, it's a sad ending for Quetta. They've I think they're pretty much out of the PSL now due to the result today, and they were hoping on some results going their way. But I think it also could spell the end of James Faulkner's, not just his PSL career, but also his standing with other leagues, right? He's disbehaved with the BBL, now the PSL. If I'm a franchise owner, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, yeah, I don't need this guy on my team, right? Because who knows, I might be the next team that he screws over. But we'll see. I think this is not the last we've heard from about this. I'm sure Faulkner is going to come back with a statement and, give another detailed version of what he thinks happened. And we'll see. I think the PCB and PSL have said all they need to say now, right?
No, I think they will come back with a detailed statement as well. At least the PCB original statement said that there will be a more further detailed statement coming out on this.
Right. Yeah. So I think, the ball is in sort of, well, not the ball, it's more along the lines of the PCB do hold all the cards, because I think they can easily show whether what James Faulkner is saying is true or untrue. But
there will definitely be resolution here. I think this is pretty black and white.
Right. Very, yeah. There's clearly one person who's right and one person who's wrong in this case. There can't be in between. But let's see, guys, what happens. Any last thoughts on this?
No.
Okay, so I think now we're approaching the end of the PSL group stage. We'll be coming back doing another video, giving our preview on what we believe will happen in the knockouts, our predictions, who to look out for, and if Taufeeq is finally going to admit that Islamabad is not going to win this PSL. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. And if there is any more James Faulkner news, we'll discuss it. But we will see you in a few days with another video. Until then, keep safe, and thank you for watching.